shall I render to the Lord for all his bounty to me?
Welcome to Veiled in Grace. I'm Kira.
And I'm Anna. We are Cradle Orthodox Christians.
And we're here to talk about what it's like to be Orthodox women
in a very non-Orthodox world.
And today we are talking about a topic that I have been very interested in talking about. I'm pretty passionate about, but has already thrown us for a little bit of a loop in our preparations. And that is simplicity and how to be simple in a world that's not. and it's not quite as simple as it seems. One of the things that kind of goes hand in hand with simplicity, which we want to dive into a little bit today, is minimalism and what that means and how we live that. And so I want to start by asking you to share a little bit about the difference between simplicity and minimalism. Anna.
Well, this is a tricky one. I think personally, we looked up different definitions of it, and simplicity is like uncombined, quality over quantity, or the absence of luxury versus beauty. Whereas minimalism is like few and bare. So they are different, but they are very similar.
Yeah.
And I think they can work together, and they do in Orthodoxy. It's just a matter of, like all things, not needing to take things to the extreme. People do, and saints do, and we could, but we don't have to go to the extreme. That's not what God's calling us to do. I think, especially when I'm talking with my kids about this, and they're like, so do I have to sell everything? I can't have anything, or I can't make any money. And it's like, no, that's not it. But it can be confusing because that sometimes feels that way. You feel guilty for making money or having anything in your house.
Yeah, for having nice things.
Yeah.
Welcome to our table. We're a little confused. Not in a bad way, but just that before we started recording, we talked a lot about it actually, in that it's very difficult to understand where that line is. Where do you draw the line of being simple, being a minimalist, but embracing beauty?
Yeah.
Because we are called to be simple beings. We find it in scripture. The saints tell us it. A lot of the saints led by example of how to be simple. And part of that is changing your life and teaching your kids how to embrace things around you without being consumed by them. And it applies to so many aspects of your life. We talked before we started filming about social media, and even with our podcast, and how we both got off of social media a long time ago. Almost 6 years ago, I think, something like that. We kind of snuck back on in some ways, but we don't really want to be there. And the reason why is because when you get there, you get so sucked into it, and you get so far removed from the life that you're actually living. And, you might be seeing photos of things from people all around the world, but you're forgetting that God made you a physical person, a human being. And it's so easy to get sucked into the world of social media. It's hard to find your way out of it. And social media isn't simple. There's so much content that you're taking in. And there's so many things that you feel like you're obligated to do and people that you feel like you're obligated to interact with.
Or things to buy.
Like there's just so much to it.
They found me. All the wool and linen and cotton, they found me. I want it all.
So jump into that though. Like, and that's what we were talking about so in our hall right now, someone is cleaning out their closet around here. And when you walk into the entryway, there's like hundreds of items of clothing. And
nice clothing.
Nice clothing. And it's so tempting to walk in and just be like, I want all of it. It's so pretty. It's so beautiful. I want to take it all home. Yeah, it's in my size. It's not in my size. It's in Anna's size. I did take a few things home and I was like, I can definitely fit into this. I'm breastfeeding. I'll just leave it at that. But it's so tempting to be like, I want all of this. But it's like difficult to change your mind to realize that you don't have to have everything. It's okay to not have everything. It's okay to set boundaries and realize that, like, to live, you don't need 9,000 pieces of clothing. What you need are things that are going to serve you well in your life, that are going to have a purpose, are made sustainably, hopefully, things that are made with care for our environment and good for your body. And so we've talked about part of natural living and putting things on your body that are good for your body is buying clothes that are linen and wearing clothes that are cotton. And Anna walked in and she's like searching through all of the items, trying to find things that are
reading
linen
every
or cotton.
label. And I told myself going forward, because I literally just last week purged my entire wardrobe. I went through everything. Anything that was polyester, gone. Even if I wear it on a regular basis, nope, gone. That's because I was looking, I'm like, I was running out of like room to hang stuff. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I don't even wear half this stuff. And of course, some of the stuff I was wearing was a polyester, but I was like, no, this is step one, getting rid of all the polyester. So I did that. It was like 2 bags full of clothes.
And it probably makes you feel so good too.
It does, because I was like, I can work with what's left. I was like, this is fine, Sure, I might need a couple random things to kind of help tie things together to be able to wear in different situations. What do they call that? The capsule wardrobe, or like? Oh
yeah, where you have like a couple things that all kind of match each other.
Everything kind of goes together. That's why I love the whole like wear a sweater over a dress trend that is in now. So
that's why I do dresses. It's just one piece.
Right. And then you just need a sweater in the winter and you can rewear it. So I'm trying to do that and trying to just simplify in that sense and give myself boundaries, which I tried to do this many years ago. But then all of a sudden I finally got time to go to thrift stores, and then I like bought all this stuff that then I was like, why did I just get all of this stuff? Like, yeah, it's cute, but it's polyester. Why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
So my new rule is only if it's natural fibers, or it used to be natural fibers or thrifted or like a local thing. Yeah. But now I'm cutting it down to it must be natural fibers or it's not like I don't need it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like what's the term for it? Over consumerism, right? Where it's like you're just taking in all of these things that you don't even need and don't have a purpose for just because.
Yeah. Right, which that could happen too. Like, oh, this is cotton, so I'm just going to keep taking all this stuff. Do I really need it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'll find out when I get home.
But the world is tempting. Like everything around you is tempting. It's not, I think that's where simplicity aligns so well with orthodoxy, is that it's not easy to be orthodox. It's not easy to be simple. It's not easy to be a minimalist. It's not easy when I stand in the entryway and hold up the dress and go, Anna, but it's so pretty. And she feels it and she likes it and then she puts it back. Like that's difficult because that's what we face in our day-to-day life. Like everything around us is so in your face that you need to be involved in it. And if you didn't watch the episode before this one, it was Anna talking with her Baba, and I made the comment to her when I listened to it. One of the things that I loved about it was that it was so simple, and her Baba talked so slowly, but not like in a like just because she's elderly kind of way, just in a she's not involved in social media, she's not involved in the internet, she only watches TV, right? Occasionally. And so she's just slower. Like she just takes life slower.
It's a slower pace.
And it's a slower pace. And it's so beautiful because I think that's part of it, is that we're so fast paced that we are forgetting how to slow down. And we see that in the church with a lot of saints. We see that there are so many saints that they get tied up in earthly things, in bad things, whether that be physical or mental, whatever. And what does Christ force them to do usually? Leave it all behind. One of my favorite examples is St. Mary of Egypt, and I know we talked about her before, but when you get so involved in earthly things, she wasn't living a simple life. She was consumed in many things that were not good for you. And what did Christ do? Send her out into the wilderness.
Yeah.
Basically in solitude. And so it's difficult to navigate.
Right, because are we all called to sell all of our possessions and go live and be a hermit?
No. But we're called to walk the line.
Right.
And
that fine line.
It's this never ending.
Are we meant to talk to all the people and
all the time,
know all the things all the time? No. And I mean, yeah, that's talking with my papa. Like, she doesn't feel like she missed out on anything by not being on the internet.
Yeah. Welcome to our table. We're confused. Let us know what you think. What do we know? We know that Christ and the church calls us to be simple. How do we do that? That's where it's confusing. Originally, this episode was planned to be two separate things. We had talked about doing an episode on simplicity and living simple, and we talked about doing an episode on minimalism. And I texted Anna and said, they're one and the same,
They go together, yeah.
One leads to the other. So what was your upbringing like, Anna? Did you live a simple life? Was it straightforward and things were slow and easy?
I do think so. Both my parents, especially my mom, was an environmentalist. So minimalism is an environmental thing, not to have too much stuff. And not to have a lot of plastic, not to have, things that are bad for the environment. And, consumerism is bad for the environment. So I was raised to choose wisely of what do you actually need? Like, is this a want or a need? But then I did have to kind of navigate, because sometimes that can be you can go down the other side of being like just too cheap, or like too... Like I struggle with sharing. This is a thing that my husband and my best friend from college have had to train me on, to be a better sharer.
Of just your things, when
yes.
people want to borrow things.
Yes.
Oh, that's me
or
too.
Share my food, or I don't know. I was very
Oh, so not just when someone wants to borrow something.
Yeah, because my friend Courtney. Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Courtney. Long time no see.
She, in college, we were roommates, and she would want to borrow my clothes, and I was like, I didn't have a sister. I wasn't used to that. And I was like, borrow my clothes? I was like, but I'm like, you better not stain it or break, I was so protective of my things, because they've always just been mine. I didn't have to share it with anyone. And she had sisters and is very free spirit, and so she was like, why can't I? So it was a huge thing that I had to try to let go.
I still am kind of that way as an adult. I struggle with that too. My husband, hi husband, he's not watching. He'll be like, so and so wants to borrow this, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why should we let them? What if they break it? What if this happens? What if that happens? And he's like, what if? And that's part of the simple what if?
Yeah.
It's okay. It won't be the end of the world.
No, it's definitely a struggle.
So you still feel like you're that way?
I'm getting better.
Okay. Good.
Having children has really helped me, because nothing is mine anymore.
It's all theirs.
Yeah. And everything gets broken. So, or lost, or disappears. So I've had to learn to let go of material things.
But generally speaking, through your upbringing, you weren't.
That was kind of how I was brought
It
up,
was
to
kind of
be more
naturally,
minimalist.
yeah.
However, like my parents are antique dealers and we like vintage and antiques. So then you do tend to like collect things because you're like, ooh, that's really cool and one of a kind, and I might need this one day. And like we used to live in a 1-bedroom condo, so we didn't have a whole lot, and that was great. I really loved it. But then we moved back home and we knew we were going to be building a house and having a family, and so we started collecting all of things handed down from our grandparents who didn't need things anymore. We're like, oh yeah, we'll take them. But then all of a sudden you end up with like you accumulate all of this stuff. And we didn't finish our house until just 3 years ago. So like this whole time we've had like all this random stuff kind of in our garage or, stuffed
Unseen
away.
in boxes.
Yes. So now we're slowly still going through things like, okay, are we actually going to use this? Do we need this? And I also struggle with like the kids stuff, like their toys or clothes, and that's why I give all of my clothes to Kira.
It's the Anna.
Because then I'm like, well, at least I get to see the clothes again on her boys, and it makes me happy. But it was a big step. Like the first time having to give away those baby clothes, I was like,
only me in the middle of trying to purge my basement, and Anna's showing up with 3 garbage bags of stuff a week for me, and her husband's like, I put it in your car. And I was like, thanks.
But it is one of those things like, when you have 3 boys, you do need more stuff because they go through it all and get holes in everything and trash everything. So like it is good to have backups, but it is finding that balance.
God provides.
I know.
Like we say this all the time. Like there's just so much stress on physical things in today's world and needing to have something. What do you actually need?
Yeah. Food.
What do you actually need?
Food.
Christ?
Food.
Some sort of shelter.
Shelter, clothing.
I just told Anna how bad I am at inviting people over because I don't want judged on my duct taped bathroom or like things that are that I see that bother me, but it's all physical. It's all,
Yeah.
the simple side of it. What does Christ care about? You communing with others and fellowshipping with others and building the body of Christ. He doesn't care what your bathroom looks like.
Okay, but on the flip side,
Okay.
God is beauty.
That's true.
And
Our churches are ornate.
are ornate and beautiful. And we are called to be good, what is it? Good, true, and beautiful. So we are called to have beautiful spaces, but it doesn't need to be necessarily luxurious or lots of it.
Okay, so I heard there's a difference. Like when you have the church is called to be like heaven on earth. And so the goal of that is that when people walk into the church, they're feeling like they're on heaven on earth. And it's as close to Christ as they can get. And what else would we hope to see in heaven but the saints and Christ and surrounded by the most beautiful things that you can imagine.
Yeah.
That's all within reason, though. Like, there are some churches that are insanely elaborate, and good for them that they can afford that, but you don't have to have that either. Mm-hmm. I saw my sister's church recently. We visited for a very long time. We visited from the time that they were just sharing recently their transformation from when they were in a storefront with this tiny little makeshift, altar to now a full-blown church and building on from that. And it goes to show that like Christ will grow the church even without having it elaborately ornate. But it's okay to appreciate and find beauty in those things, in the icons. A lot of the icons are created by hand, by gifts that God gave to people. Now, there's a difference between in the church and in your home too. Sometimes, I was just having a conversation with a fellow parishioner, I think this past week, and we were talking about like where's the line in your own home of how much is too much orthodoxy, I'll say, you know? And, you know, because she was like, well, that, when I look around, I realize that I actually like all of my houses, there's like icon here and icon there and this here and that there. And I'm like, and especially converts, like converts are jumping in and they're like, I want the biggest icon corner in the entire world. I'm going to have like
all the icons.
300 icons here. They're so beautiful. I just love to look at them. I love to look at them. And that's where I was reading recently about you in your own home, in your own space, should not have more icons and holy things there than you can venerate in a single day. They're not to look at.
They're to pray.
They're to pray in front of.
Yeah.
They're to worship by. When we're in the church, there's people every single week worshiping all around, venerating all of the icons. There are very few icons in our church that aren't venerated often, you know? It's not a fashion show. It's not a, like, it's a conversation starter.
Church, and it's telling a story. A lot of the really, you know, ones with lots of iconography, it's telling the story of Christ. To when people walk in, they can see the whole story.
It's just things to think about.
Right. And if our home is a little church, it should be beautiful. But again, beautiful doesn't have to mean expensive. You know, we talk about it with our Matushka and even redecorating the hall. We wanted to be very conscious of where we were placing things. What we were placing, and we want it to look beautiful and inviting and not cluttered.
Yes.
And so that's kind of because we wanted the hall to be a reflection of the church. So we needed to, you know, like really, we're taking our time with it to make sure we're intentional with what we're putting where and how and making sure it all flows together. And so we should try to do that with our home. I mean, obviously, things are expensive. So most of us are like under construction our whole lives in a house. And then if you are lucky to finish all of your renovations, by that time you have to just start repainting everything because it's been so long that everything needs, or you move or start all over.
you start again.
So it is an ongoing process, but just having the space not be cluttered and to be visually appealing, I think would be like the best way. You know, it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be all thrifted things. It can be, you know, just intentionally placed. And then if it doesn't serve a purpose, why do we have it? You know, and I get it though. Like it takes time to do all this. And sometimes I'm like, I don't have time to deal with this.
It's a skill too.
Right. It is a skill. And I get a little overwhelmed sometimes. And I'm like, I'm just going to stuff in the corner.
I tell you to invite me over all the time. It's like one of my favorite things to do is just get rid of things.
I'll never forget. So we were in this classroom back here, turning it from an office to a nursery back when my oldest was a baby, I think. And Kira had just started coming. And so we're going through all the toys. And I had an extra music set. And I had brought it. And it goes in this box. It came in this box and it had all the instruments in it. And you probably don't know this. So she took the box.
I'm going to need to apologize.
She put like other stuff in it and moved all the music stuff into something else. And I was like, but it goes in that box. And these were my toys that I had a hard time getting rid of, but I put them here. So, you know, I was like, and I remember talking to myself, Anna, these are just things. It's okay. She's just helping us declutter. And I had to talk myself through it because I was like trying not to.
I was mentally preparing her for when I came back 4 years later and then went into the rooms and then just threw everything away.
Yes, she's very good at purging. It gives me a little anxiety sometimes, but again, it's just things. I think for me, it's because, okay, what if I need it then? Then I have to take that time to go out and buy it again.
Okay, then you're going to go to the thrift store.
I know, but it still costs money. But I guess, you know, I don't know.
What was the last thing, Anna, that you needed that you didn't have?
Gosh, you're putting me on the spot.
See, this is what I'm saying though. Like You don't have to actually think of it. But like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is, we always are like, I have to get that. I need to go get that. Like, other than going to the grocery store.
Right.
What was the last thing that we needed that we didn't actually have?
Right. Food. Yeah.
So I didn't grow up like that. I love my upbringing, love my family. We were very much like, we had lots of things. We just had lots of things. And it was just how it was. We had a nice, beautiful house. We always had things in it. Like, it was just filled with stuff, other different things. And it was nice in the sense that, like, I never felt like there was a time that I was without. Like, we always had something that we needed, but it was never really explored. Like, what's the opposite of this? Is this how we're supposed to live? Is this not how we're supposed to live? I think that sometimes it's okay to have what you have, but I do think that I missed the aspect of, like, I didn't until I was an adult start thinking about that more. Mm-hmm. And then I went down this rabbit hole. I went down the simplicity rabbit hole of, like, well, how can I be simple? There's so many different areas of life that you can be simple in. As a parent now, I watched a short also on YouTube the other day from some mom, and I totally resonated with her because she was talking about, like, what are we in a hurry for? Why are we always rushing? It's not simple. It's not Christ-like. Christ would be walking down along the road and stop to perform miracles. Like, what are we rushing for? Why is everything like we must get out the door right now? We must do this right now. We must do this right now. Like,
because I'll be late and my husband will be annoyed.
Okay, but like...
No, I know.
Late for what? Other than maybe going to church, and that's like, yes, there is a side of, like, you should not just be lazy. Mm-hmm. There's the line you walk. Mm-hmm. Like, you should not be lazy. You should be putting an effort into doing the things that you tell people that you're going to do, committing to be there at the times that you tell people that you're going to be there. But all of the other things that you don't have to be somewhere at this specific time. Going to the grocery store. Why are we rushing our kids putting on their shoes? Like, we're just going shopping, We're going to the park. Why are we rushing everyone to get in the car? There's this line of, like, there's so many different avenues for it. So it's like our actual attitude and how we approach life, and that needs to be simplified. Like, just take a deep breath. Like, just take a deep breath. Say a prayer. Calm down a little bit. I'm speaking this as someone that's, like, super high anxiety and, like, do as I say, not as I do. I'm trying. It's what I aspire to be.
Mm-hmm. You're preaching to yourself.
I am not that. I am not that all of the time, but it's what I aspire to be. When I'm trying to rush my family out the door at times that don't need to be rushed, I'm like, what am I rushing for? Mm-hmm. We should really just slow down. So that's, like, our physical actions, things that we're doing. Then we have what we surround ourselves with, all of this consumerism talk. I totally jumped into that, the, like, purging everything. I found so much peace in it. I was just so overwhelmed by things. And so, like, when we got married, it was such an interesting, like, you don't know what to do when you have, like, it's such an interesting time because here you are. You got a big open house. What do you put in it? Like, yeah. We bought a house and then we're like, well, what do we fill it with? And it became this, like, you bought things as you needed them. Like, you're cooking food. You need a spatula. You're doing this. You need that. But then you get to the point of, like, well, now we have the things that we need. What do we do when we start getting, like, duplicates of things that we have and don't need? And that's where, like, your discernment has to come in and be like, my role and now in my home is, like, does this thing have a place in my home? Like, everything in my home belongs somewhere. If I'm given something and it doesn't have a home, it doesn't have a place to live and a purpose to serve, then you just don't need it.
Yeah. Well, because there's beauty in the space between. So, like, on your walls, think of the space between the things, that's where the beauty can lie. Because if you have too many things, even if they're beautiful things, you can't appreciate them because it's just too much clutter for you. It's just, then it doesn't look good. There's the beauty, the space between has.
And that's just like the icons. If you have your home filled with 700 icons and you're not venerating them all daily and they're just there collecting dust. What purpose is that serving?
Right, if they're not reminding you to pray, then
like
pass them on.
All
to
things
another...
that we're doing should be bringing us back to Christ. And if you think about everything that you do, your actions, what you collect, because it's when we talk about simplicity, I really think that people focus so much on the whole minimalist, like personal possessions, and they forget about like having a simple heart, loving others, caring for others, showing your children how to follow Christ and always putting him first. Like that's being simple. I sometimes call myself a minimalist, but it's not because it was the term that I gave myself. I just tend to use it because I've been called a minimalist so many times by other people. Like I had a close friend.
You've been labeled.
I've been labeled by others, and so I've just kind of accepted that I'm like, I guess I am a minimalist. To me, like I just don't see it that way. I see it as like I just try not to hold on to things that I don't actually need and that aren't bringing me closer to Christ. And it's kind of this like, it's like the Orthodox version of the like Marie Kondo. Do you remember the like?
Oh, I read that book.
Oh yeah, my mother-in-law did it. Well,
my socks are still folded.
Yeah,
in my drawer.
But like it's a version of it, except for like instead of like holding your things and being like, does it make me happy? It's like holding your things. Does this bring me closer to Christ? That's what we should be asking. Being close to Christ brings you joy.
Right.
So, like that's what we need to do with our life. When we are looking at all of our children's toys or we're trying to figure out, trying to rush somewhere and we're like, is this moment bringing me closer to Christ? Is this, and it seems really easy, like it being simple. It seems so simple, but it's not. We live in such a fast-paced world and there's so much stuff. There's so many people everywhere. Everyone's always in a hurry. I love visiting places in the South because they're just slow and I like it. Like when you go out to eat somewhere and they're like, yeah, okay, put your order in. They bring you your food in like an hour. You're like, okay.
Well, pretty much anywhere other than America, when you go to a different country, it's much slower and we are kind of spoiled in America. And I will say there's a lot of good things that I like when you do travel that make you appreciate home and our government and whatever. But then there's also the flip side that you're like, oh, they do kind of, it's either island time or it's,
especially island time. Like theirs is so simple. Like they come, they work, they go home, they eat some food, they just hang out.
Yeah, because we had an incident where we were on the side where there was a canal where boats were coming in and out, and this boat comes by and it looks like a security boat, and he's like, excuse me, so we are with the he didn't even say police. I don't even know how he worded it, but like it took him so long to politely describe who he was and where they were. Like the boat's floating by and getting further, and we're like, we're not gonna be able to hear you. What are you trying to tell us? He's like, can you please leave this area? It's not safe. But we're kind of used to in the States, it's more like get out, dude. It's a little more abrupt, and so that made me, and my brother-in-law told me a story about how they were being followed by police and they thought they were going to get pulled over because they didn't have like their license plates yet or something. And they get pulled over and the police are like, what kind of dogs are those? Are you breeding those dogs? We'd like to get those dogs that were in their car. And they're like, oh, we thought we were going to get them. But like, so it's just, different cultures definitely are on a different speed. And Americans are unfortunately mostly on like 100 speed. For everything in life. And because we can have all the things and do all the things, we feel like we need to do and have all the things.
And we forget to stop and embrace the beauty.
Yes.
It's just...
It's a struggle.
It's overwhelming. This is how we felt like preparing for this episode, and that I really was excited because I'm like, yes, this is down my alley. I do find joy, and I find peace, and I find comfort in being minimal and being simple with things. And I think, like, speaking for me personally, I think it's because my brain always has a lot going on. That's another like area to work on, is that like I'm always thinking of things. I'm always the amount of times that my husband's like, how can you hold a conversation with someone and be listening to this person too, and be doing this at this time too? And again, that goes to the like, there's so many areas in your life to try to simplify and just focus on what someone's saying and what someone's doing and being a good listener. And I feel like the tangible things in my life that I can black and white be like, I don't need, is so much easier than like in my brain. So
yeah, and I personally, when my children were young, I was really good about keeping things simple, quiet. We didn't do a whole lot. We were content at home. And now that my kids are older and they want to be in activities or sports, or, you know, if I don't want them on screens all day, we need to go do something.
Yeah.
Like, our lives are much busier now, and I'm like, I don't like it, but I know it's a season that I'm in and that I kind of need to be in, and that's just where I'm at. But I am struggling because I really miss the simple, quiet days where we're just at home. So when we do have them, I really appreciate them. And I think, and all of us do, you know, when we have all three boys playing soccer all at the same time and we have games every night, it's a little overwhelming.
yeah, I know we talked about this like months ago with each other, where we were like, so sports.
And I can see why people don't do it, but like, you know, I don't know. I grew up doing sports.
So did I, and I'm in it right now too. Like I'm walking this like really difficult mental line of not knowing where to go, because I grew up doing sports and I did a ton. I did like all of the things at the same time, and I really enjoyed doing it. But it did get to a point that it was like, this is so much. And doing that did mean that we spent less time all together as a family, or that there were times like we had to like kind of prioritize going to church over doing something else because they fall at the same time. And now with my own kids, they're just getting into the age that like they want to do things, and I want them to do things, but I don't want, and maybe it's easy. I'm sure it's easier when you've got like one child and you're like, they want to do dance class and this and that. Let's do it. And like you both go there to their dance class and you sit there and you all watch them. But like, it doesn't work like that when you have 3 to 4 to 5 children and they just all want to go in different directions and they don't share the same interests. Like I had a friend who she told me that they kind of just made it a rule that like she has 3 boys and all of her boys are just going to do the same sport. They collectively needed to agree upon what sport they want to do each year. And I'm like, maybe that works, but my kids are so different. Like and
I struggle with that because I want them to have their own
individual, like I have one child that's very competitive and sporty, and I have another that's very artistic, and like they just don't find joy in doing the same thing. So it's difficult. It is. And it's not easy to navigate. I think part of it is like, do try to prioritize time as a family and make sure that in whatever way you can, you leave the time and space to breathe. And sometimes that it means taking a break from doing one activity. My kids have spent the entire month of July doing swim lessons. It's a lot. But my child also wanted to do summer soccer. And I was like, this is not going to happen. Like, we need to breathe. We can't do swim lessons all day long, go home and do soccer 3 days a week. Like, it's just so much.
Yeah. I know. We made the rule this year where we're like, you each can pick what sport you want, but it's one per season. That's all we're doing is one per season. And that's, you got to choose. And it's a good lesson of you have to choose things in life and make those decisions that are hard. So that's kind of our rule with like one sport and one music.
But even then, like that puts you 4 different or 3 different places throughout the week. Like if everything is meeting once a week,
right,
you're 3 different places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be intense. And I know, and some people are like, oh, I'm not doing that. And that's fine with you. I don't know.
I struggle too because to me, you're more of a homebody. Like but you're also an introvert. So like you enjoy like having the peace and being at home. I don't want to be at home. Not that I don't like my home, but I'm an extrovert.
I like to be out and about.
I like to be out and about. I don't like to sit at my house. And so there's like trying to find a balance of like, how much is too much going out and too much doing things. Like maybe I do need to force myself sometimes to be like, it's okay to just be home and do nothing. I might not like it all the time, but like, it's okay. Yeah. Because if it were up to me, like I would go somewhere every day and do something every day and be a new place every day. And you're like, no. But
that makes me tired.
There's just... And it energizes me because I'm like, if I'm at home, I just don't want to do anything. Or if I'm at home, I feel like I feel more obligated to have to like do certain things,
right. Clean
like,
or work on projects or
and
that's
like I'm at home and I'm forgetting to be simple. Like to me, it's easier to be simple and be undistracted by when I'm out. When I'm at swim lessons, I can't do anything except for sit there, talk to some friends, and watch my kids swim. Yeah. Like there's nothing that I can do. Can't play on my phone because a child will drown. Can't go to the coffee shop because...
Right, you can be present.
I have to be there. Yeah. Like when I take my kids out places, I have to be there. When I'm at my house, I'm still there, but they're out catching frogs and I'm... doing the dishes and doing the laundry and cleaning the floors and things that need done, but just like can overtake you. So it's just such a weird thing. Like there's so many ways to approach it. It's a skill. I really believe it is. Like and it's not something that you just do. Like you have to actually practice simplifying and shutting the door to things and closing that social media app and, saying no to maybe that opportunity because it's too much.
Yeah. And I think I'm reminded of Saint Olga. She was a mother to 8 children and is known for her simplicity, but still living in the world, being a mother, being a midwife, caring for her community. I'm sure she was very busy doing all the things that needed done around the house. And I think I read that once her daughters were old enough to help, then she was able to do more in the community because she didn't have to do all the household things because they could help out. But, so she was a busy mom, but just doing simple tasks with love and gratitude and that's what she's remembered by, is just the simple things and not worrying about
be the example for other people too. That's why we have the saints. That's why they're so beautiful, is like be the example of how to simplify and how to let go of the other things. Like we look to her because she showed us that you can do all of those things. You can care about other people and not be consumed by it. I had a friend who recently had sent a poem or something of that sort that talked about being an exhale kind of friend. And just like be that person that you don't have so much going on that you feel like you leave and you're like fight or flight. Like be the person that after they've left that conversation with you, they feel like it was just better. A breath of fresh air.
And that's how my husband and I, before we moved back home and built our house, we worked in New York City. We were always in, catering at rich people's homes and saw all these nice homes. And when we had good friends who would invite us over for a weekend that lived in the Hamptons, and they had a beautiful home. But when we went there, it was like the way their hospitality was with us, they had breakfast waiting for us when we'd wake up. They had nice music playing, everything, it was very well decorated, but simple. Like, even though it was
Lavish.
it was simple, at least, and very beautifully done. And we just loved how we felt when we were at their home. And that was like our goal when making our home. We're like, we want people to feel that way. When they come to our home, they feel better leaving. They feel at peace. So that means not a lot of clutter,
Might be a lot of chaos.
There might be a lot of chaos, but at least they have, we do live in the woods, so that's just a natural piece of, if you're outside, you feel better. But that was our goal, was to try to make our home feel peaceful and beautiful, and people want to be there and spend time there and to feel better leaving there. And it doesn't mean having expensive things or lavish things or lots of things, but like we said, beauty is in the space between, like just having it. It doesn't have to be clean. That's another thing, like just tidy up your space. So
it's
at least
lived in.
Yes, it's lived in, but you don't feel stressed out by being in a space when you just see clutter or things in disarray, It's definitely easier said than done, but it's a priority for us. We both feel better when we don't have a lot of clutter in our spaces, and I know you feel the same way.
Amen. There's few things that I can like simplify, and that's one of them. Yeah.
I just wish I had more time to do it and not get so overwhelmed with.
Invite me over, Anna.
I know.
I offer to everyone. I'm like, I have acknowledged that it's a skill that I feel like I have not mastered, but I'm decent at. And so I'm like, if you're having a hard time, just invite me over and I will show you how to throw everything away. You might be crying, but I'll hold your hand.
No, things have gotten better. I'm in definitely a better space after, like, I'm midway through summer. Like, I've gotten some things decluttered. I still have a long way to go, and it's just always evolving.
Practical tips for in your home. Yes, obviously do always like when things are coming in, does it have a place? Does it have a home? Does it have a purpose? If not, then it's going to go back out of my home and it can serve someone else's needs. But the things that you do keep, it's good to just do a refresh every couple years. My husband recently, part of it was like baby nesting and part of it was just life, but he's like, why must we clean out our entire basement the month before you have a baby? And I'm like, because stuff. I was like, it's been 4 years since we moved. We lived about 4 years in our old house. And then when we moved, we had to get rid of so much stuff because you just accumulate things. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, I'm not planning on moving anytime soon. So we need to get rid of things. Like do you see where we're at now? Imagine this in 4 more years and we'll have double this. And then you just get so buried in it. It's like, it's how people are that are hoarders. It's like you get so buried in it that then you don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. It's just so overwhelming that you just don't deal with it and you just shut it off. No, I mean, when we added on to our home, it was the same year that we had a baby, and it was the same year that we started homeschooling, and it was the same year that COVID happened. And all of a sudden, we found ourselves, like, our garage was a complete disaster because, like, everything, like, construction-wise, everything was pushed in there, things. And I feel like we're just now starting to, like, come out of this and, like, have the time and space to be able to deal with it. Like, it's been very overwhelming the last few years, like, living in somewhat of chaos for us. Especially the garage, because I felt like once I started homeschooling, I lost that time to be able to be like constantly organizing or purging things or putting things back where they belong, and things just got so out of control. But now that the kids are a little bit older and more helpful, we're starting to make progress.
So prioritize it. I guess that's our like general.
Yes.
We don't understand simplicity fully. We kind of discuss that with each other. It's like we're kind of lost in like, how is the perfect way to do it? Trust in Christ.
You don't have to be a minimalist. You don't have to not have anything, but just to be aware of what you do
Yeah,
have.
that's a good way to put it. To be more aware.
Yeah.
And to make better choices.
So some scripture to kind of support all that we've been talking about. In Matthew 6:19 through 21, it's where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And Luke 12:15, one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions. And our saints have spoken on simplicity, obviously, because most of them are simple. That St.
Or
John
have become simple.
Yes, or becomes, simple. So St. John Chrysostom says, the rich are not those who possess much, but those who need little. So in Acts 20:35, it says, it is more blessed to give than to receive. So someone online, I remember them saying, I like to bless other people with my stuff. And so they just are constantly purging things, and they'll just give it to their friends at church, and if anyone needs it, and they see it as like a blessing. You're blessing somebody by giving them these things. And I know that was always like our main thing behind our church rummage sale was like, other people, it's like twofold. You get to purge your things, and then other people are blessed by things they might need, and they can get it for very affordable or free,
Yeah. It makes sense. It's a good way to show others that you care about them too. And you'll find joy in that. That's kind of like what we were saying with the whole sharing thing earlier. We're like, it's hard though to just like want to give other people your things, even to borrow. It's like, I want that. I use that. I like that.
Right. Yeah. Loaning books to people. And like, you better give me that back. And I've had to let it go. Like, no, it's okay. I can always get another book if it doesn't come back. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the idea of even like, during Lent, we're not supposed to be buying as much because that money that you are spending can now be given back, tithe to the church or almsgiving, to those in need, to charity. So the less you're spending, the more you have to give. And that's the main purpose, right?
Yeah. We often text each other about like, or talk about how, something is happening, this is difficult, that's difficult, and then all of a sudden God just like blesses you in such a random way. But that's him working through other people too, because a lot of it is like, yeah, I do need clothes for my kids. And then Anna shows up. It was the last time that you gave me clothes, and I was like, okay, thank you. I'm clearing out my basement right now. But I did. I was like, I had just told her how I was going to need to go to the store to buy my 3-year-old 5T pants. And she's like,
big boy.
She's like, oh, there's like 3 pairs in the bag that I just gave you. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. Just the small ways that like, while in the moment it might be difficult for you because you're getting rid of this thing that you had, you don't realize that it's like, oh, that was actually such a blessing to someone else.
Right. And that just happened today. We had extra, my husband's building a gym in our garage, and he had extra equipment, and I was like, well, let me put it on our church group, see if anybody can use it. And sure enough, somebody is also building a gym in their garage, and they could use, I think, everything but one little piece. And they were like, yeah, we were just thinking we want to do this, and look, God provided. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, it felt good to know that getting rid of something
is useful to someone else,
and not like putting it on Marketplace and getting $200 out of it. Like, just giving it to someone who could also need it and blessing them with that. It's, you feel better, and God will provide.
He always does.
Yes.
We often, sometimes in our minds at the last minute, where we're like, come on, what are we supposed to do from here? But
yeah. Some other ways could be, like we said, supporting the parish. Like we often do clothing swaps. That helps us purge our closets, and then other people
anything that our church does that encourages purging things, I'm totally behind. We want to paint a room. Yes, let's clear it all out.
Yeah. Sharing meals, that's a big thing. Like potlucks, like everybody has to kind of bring food. You have to give your food. That's a hard thing. That for me too. Like, food's expensive. Mm-hmm. And then to give it to people, and they might not like it. Kids might throw it in the garbage. But no, It's in God's hands. It's my job to give. And that's also oftentimes people struggle with giving like charity on the street to beggars or, people homeless on the street. And, we are called to just give and not question or judge what they're going to do with that money, because that's between them and God. Your job is to give, and their job is to do good with it, but that's out of our hands. That's between them and God. So that's, I remember, I think it was Abbot Trifon said that he would put like a 20 and a 10 and a 5 and ones in his pocket. And so when he would, and it'd be mixed up. So when he would walk by someone in need, he would, whatever bill came out is what he would give them. So that way it forced him to not be greedy and be like, you only get $1, because it could have been a 20.
Yeah.
And I remember one time him saying that he was very hesitant about giving this person, like he even wanted to like cross the street to avoid this person. And he was with somebody who was like, no, we're going to go this way. And he went and he gave the person money. And when he looked at him, he said that he had the most beautiful blue eyes that he had ever seen in his life, that he wondered if it was an angel, because he just couldn't, it was just so shocking, like this person. And then like the smile, I'm sure, that was brought on their face when he gave them money. And, so you just never know, because we do have angel unawares, and we never know who we're blessing.
And it does, a lot of times it brings you joy, but keep in mind too that like give freely without expecting something in return. Try to bring wonderful things to other people, and even if
they seem
you
ungrateful.
Even if you don't see it either, just know that they saw Christ in you, whether they realize that or not.
They'll at some point it will come around. It is hard, because especially if their response is not gratitude, and you have to be like, God bless you. I love you.
Yeah.
It's hard.
There's never an end to trying to be simple. And I do often think about like both of my grandparents. My last two grandparents passed away in the last like year and a half, or maybe 2 years now actually. And I just think about like, what did they have with them at the end? By the time that they both lived wonderful long lives, but like by the time that they were 89 years old, what earthly things that I'm so concerned about now did they have? None of it. Like they didn't need hardly any of it. They needed some clothes, they needed some shampoo, they needed some food. They didn't need the art project from second grade. They didn't need, there's just so many things that sometimes like put yourself in the future, and it will help you learn to be more present in the now.
Thank you for that. That is helpful.
I'm speaking to myself too.
So we don't necessarily need to have an empty house. We just need to have an uncluttered heart. Lord, help me seek your kingdom before everything else.
Thank you for tuning into Veiled in Grace. We are an Orthodox women's lifestyle podcast. If you liked what you heard, please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel and share it with a friend.
Feel free to leave a comment with ways you struggle with clutter or living simply or being a minimalist, or tips or tricks that you might have to help us on this journey to decluttering our lives and our hearts. God bless you. We love you.
What shall I render to the Lord for all his bounty to me? I will lift up the cup of salvation. salvation.